I never thought I'd be posting here. You read these stories and you think, man, that's rough. Or, how could someone be so blind? Well, I guess it's my turn to be the guy everyone pities. I'm sitting in a Motel 6 right now. The air conditioner is humming like a dying lawnmower, and I've got a bottle of cheap bourbon that's the only thing keeping me from screaming. Let's start with the basics. My name is Mark, M32. My wife, Sarah, F28, and I have been married for 6 years. Together for 8. I thought we were solid. I really did. We have a house, 2 dogs, and we were, or so I thought, talking about starting a family this year. Then there's my brother, Caleb, M26. In our family, Caleb is the golden child. Always has been. He's the star athlete, the charismatic one, the one who can do no wrong in my mother's eyes. My mother, Evelyn, F58, treats him like he's a literal god walking the earth. Me? I'm the reliable one, the one who pays his bills, works 60 hours a week in software and keeps my head down. The glitch started 3 months ago. Caleb moved back to town after failing to find himself on the West Coast. Naturally, my mother insisted he stay with Sarah and me until he got on his feet. I didn't want it. I told Sarah I didn't want it. I told her, Sarah, my brother is a vacuum. He sucks the energy and resources out of every room he's in. But Sarah, she did that thing she does. She put her hand on my chest, looked up at me with those big hazel eyes and said, Mark, he's family. Your mom is so worried. Let's just do this for a few months. For me, I'm such a fool. I'm such a pathetic, predictable fool. I started noticing little things. Caleb would be in the kitchen when I got home, shirtless, laughing with Sarah. The house would smell like the expensive candles she only lights for special occasions. Sarah started dressing differently. More makeup, shorter skirts. When I'd ask where she was going, she'd say, "Oh, just out with the girls, Mark." God, stop being so suffocating. The breaking point happened 2 nights ago. I was supposed to be in Chicago for a 3-day conference. My flight was canceled at the last minute because of a massive thunderstorm. I didn't call Sarah. I wanted to surprise her. Surprise. The joke was on me. I pulled into the driveway at 11:30 p.m. The rain was coming down in sheets. You know that heavy, rhythmic drumming on the roof of the car? My heart was actually light. I was thinking about ordering pizza and cuddling on the couch. I walked in the front door. The house was silent, but the lights in the living room were dimmed. I saw my mother's coat on the rack. That was weird. Why was Evelyn here so late? I walked toward the kitchen to get a glass of water, and that's when I heard it. Whispering. From my mother's voice. I stopped. I stayed in the shadows of the hallway. "You two need to be more careful," my mother was saying. "Mark is a creature of habit, but even he isn't blind. Caleb, put your shirt back on. Sarah, honey, if you're going to leave your earrings in his room, at least make sure they aren't the ones Mark bought you for your anniversary." I felt like the floor had turned into liquid. My lungs wouldn't work. I felt a cold, sharp needle of ice slide right down my spine. Then I heard Sarah. "I know, Evelyn, I know. It's just, Caleb makes me feel alive. Mark is he's just Mark. He's like a comfortable chair. You don't notice it's there until you sit in it." A comfortable chair. 8 years. I worked myself to the bone so she could finish her master's debt-free. I bought her the car she wanted. I held her hair back when she was sick. "A chair?" Then Caleb spoke. "Don't worry, Mom. Mark is too busy looking at spreadsheets to notice what's happening under his own roof. Besides, you'll always look out for me, right?" My mother's voice was like honey. "Always, my sweet boy. You deserve to be happy. If Sarah makes you happy, then we'll just have to make sure Mark never finds out. It would ruin the family image if there was a divorce right now, especially with the Christmas party coming up." I stood there in the dark. The rain was still pounding outside. I realized in that moment that my entire life was a lie. My wife was a traitor. My brother was a thief. And my mother, my own mother, was the architect of the cover-up. She wasn't protecting me. She was protecting her golden boy and the family image. I didn't storm in. I don't know why. Maybe it was the shock. I backed out of the house, quiet as a ghost. I got into my car, drenched from the walk back to the driveway, and I just drove. I've spent the last 48 hours in this motel. I haven't answered their texts. Sarah: "Hey babe, how's Chicago? Missing you." Mom: "Mark, honey, Make sure you pick up some of that nice wine on your way back. We're having a family dinner Sunday. Caleb. Bro, can I borrow $200? Short on rent this month. Love ya. Love ya. I am currently looking at a folder on my laptop. See, I'm a software engineer. I'm the reliable one. What they don't know is that I have a backup of our home security system that Sarah thought was broken. It's been recording everything to a private cloud server for weeks. I just watched the first video. It's them, in my bed, while I was at work. And then there's a video of my mother sitting at our kitchen table with them, laughing as they joked about how boring I am. They want a show? I'm going to give them a show. They think I'm a comfortable chair? Well, this chair is about to break their goddamn backs. I have an appointment with a lawyer tomorrow morning, the best one in the city. I'm draining the joint accounts tonight. I'm changing the locks while they're out at the family dinner my mother is planning. I feel sick. I feel like I'm going to throw up, but mostly, I feel cold. I'll update when I have more. I have to go vomit now. Time passed since last post, 4 days. I haven't slept more than 3 hours a night since I last posted. Every time I close my eyes, I see that grainy footage from the bedroom camera. I see the woman I promised to protect, the woman I thought was my soulmate, laughing as my brother, my own blood, lies in my spot on the mattress. The motel room smells like stale cigarettes and my own sweat. I've spent the last 96 hours becoming a private investigator of my own misery. I haven't answered a single call from Sarah or my mother. I've sent a few short texts to keep them off the scent. Conference is running late. Phone battery is dying. Busy with a project. They bought it. Of course they did. They think I'm the reliable, boring ATM that doesn't have a suspicious bone in his body. Yesterday, I met with the lawyer. Her name is Diane. She's been doing high-asset divorces for 30 years, and she has the eyes of a hawk. I sat in her mahogany-lined office, my hands shaking so hard I had to sit on them. I showed her the videos. Diane didn't even flinch. She just watched, stone-faced, as Sarah and Caleb talked about how they were going to get Mark to pay for the beach house rental for a trip they were planning together.
They're not even hiding it in the house, Mark,
Diane said, her voice like sandpaper. They're comfortable. That's your biggest advantage. They've grown arrogant. She told me exactly what to do. First, the money. I went to the bank. Sarah and I have a joint savings account, about $84,000. Most of that is from a bonus I got last year and my inheritance from my grandfather. I followed Diane's advice to the letter. I didn't take it all. That looks bad in court. But I took exactly 50%. I moved it to a new account at a completely different bank. Then, I went to the cell phone provider. The family plan. I'm the primary account holder. I downloaded the text logs. I can't see the content of the iMessages, but the timestamps? Hundreds of messages between Sarah and Caleb. 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 10 a.m. while I was at work. But the worst part was my mother's texts to Sarah. Evelyn, Tuesday 2:14 p.m. Mark just texted me that he's leaving the office early. Make sure Caleb leaves through the back gate. I'll call Mark and distract him with some nonsense about my gardener to give you time to clean up. My own mother, the woman who raised me, she was running lookout for them. She was literally tracking my movements to make sure her golden boy could screw my wife in peace. I spent all of yesterday afternoon at a specialized tech shop. I bought 3 more nanny cams, the ones that look like USB chargers and smoke detectors. I waited until I knew they were all at my mother's house for her pre-Sunday brunch. I went into my own home like a thief. The house smelled like him, that cheap, spicy cologne Caleb wears. I found his shoes in the hallway. I found his workout bag on my sofa. I went into the master bedroom. The bed wasn't made. I looked at the nightstand. There was a glass of wine, Sarah's favorite Pinot, with 2 straws in it. 2 straws, like a goddamn milkshake at a diner. I felt a wave of nausea so violent I had to grip the bedpost to keep from collapsing. I wanted to burn it. I wanted to pour gasoline on the mattress and light a match. But Diane told me, "Be the ghost, Mark. Don't leave a trace. Let them get louder." I installed the new cameras. 1 in the kitchen, 1 in the living room, and 1 in the guest room where Caleb is supposed to be sleeping. Then, I saw it. On the kitchen counter, an invitation. A physical, gold-embossed invitation. Evelyn's annual Christmas gala and family announcement. Family announcement? What the hell could that be? I felt my phone buzz in my pocket. It was a text from the family group chat. Mom, Mark, darling, we're so excited for you to get back from Chicago tonight. I've moved the Sunday dinner to my place at 7 p.m. I have a huge surprise for everyone. Caleb and Sarah have been helping me plan it all week. See you then. Love you. I bet they have a surprise. I bet they're planning to announce that Caleb is moving in permanently. Or maybe Sarah is going to take a sabbatical to travel with him. I checked the cloud feed on my phone 5 minutes ago. They're back at the house now. I can see Sarah on the screen. She's wearing my favorite robe, the one I bought her in Florence. She's sitting on Caleb's lap on our sofa. My mother is there too. She's pouring champagne. My mother just toasted them. I can hear the audio. Evelyn, to the future. It's a shame Mark is so limited. He'll understand eventually that this is just how things are meant to be. He's always been the anchor, and Caleb, you were always meant to sail. Caleb, he's an anchor, all right? Heavy and dragging in the mud. Thanks for the loan from his office account, Mom. This new car is going to be sick. A loan? From my office account? I checked my business ledger. My mother has signatory access to a small emergency fund I keep from my consulting firm. She's been skimming it. She's been giving my money to Caleb to buy a car. I'm done. I'm so done. The dinner is in 3 hours. I'm not going to my mother's house. Not yet. Diane gave me the green light. I've already contacted a private process server. He's a guy named Tiny, who looks like he eats boulders for breakfast. Tonight, while they're all at my mother's house celebrating their surprise, I'm going back to my house. I'm moving every single piece of furniture I paid for into a storage unit. I'm taking the dogs. God, I hope they haven't been mean to the dogs. And I'm leaving a gift on the dining room table. It's a tablet, preloaded with a loop of the security footage from the bedroom, all 40 hours of it. I'm also dropping the family plan tonight. At exactly 7:30 p.m., Sarah and Caleb's phones will go dark. No data, no service. Just them, the dinner, and the realization that the anchor just cut the line. I'm shaking as I type this. I'm terrified, but for the first time in years, I feel awake. I'm going to the house now. I'll update after the dinner concludes. If I don't post by tomorrow, it's because things got complicated. Time passed since last update. 6 weeks. I am exhausted. I feel like I've aged a decade in a month and a half. My eyes are bloodshot. I've lost 15 pounds, and my lawyer Diane has me on speed dial. But I'm still standing. And they are drowning. Let's go back to the night of the family dinner. I told you I was going to be a ghost. I was. I hired a white glove moving crew, 6 guys who looked like they moved mountains for a hobby. I paid them double to show up at 7:15 p.m., exactly when the dinner started at my mother's place 20 miles away. I had every piece of furniture that was legally mine, which, thanks to my premarital assets and my own income, was almost everything, wrapped and loaded in 90 minutes. I took the dogs, Buster and Lucy. They were so confused, wagging their tails, looking for Sarah. I put them in the back of my SUV and drove to a pet-friendly Airbnb I'd rented under a friend's name. But before I left, I set the stage. I took that tablet. I plugged it into the charger so the screen wouldn't die. I set the video, the one of Caleb and Sarah in our bed, to loop. I put it right in the center of the bare dining room floor. I also left the printed divorce papers, a copy of the bank transfer showing I took my 50%, and a printed log of the texts my mother sent Sarah about running lookout. I turned off the lights, locked the door, and at exactly 7:30 p.m., I logged into my carrier account and click, data, off, voice, off, text, off. I sat in my car 3 blocks away and watched the house through the security app on my phone. Around 10:30 p.m., Sarah's car pulled into the driveway. Caleb was in the passenger seat. My mother's car followed. They were all laughing. I could see them through the doorbell camera. They were holding boxes of leftovers, probably celebrating their big announcement. They walked inside. The silence on the video feed was eerie. Then, the screaming started. I couldn't hear the words clearly, but I saw Sarah run out to the porch, clutching her phone, frantically trying to make a call. Of course, it didn't work. No bars, Sarah. No reliable chair to fix your tech issues tonight. Then my mother came out, looking like she'd seen a ghost. She was clutching her chest. Caleb followed, looking around the yard like he expected me to jump out of the bushes and fight him. He's a coward. He's always been a coward. I turned off the app. I didn't need to see the rest. I drove to the Airbnb, curled up with my dogs, and I cried until I physically couldn't breathe. The next day, the surprise was revealed. Since they couldn't call me, they did the next best thing. They showed up at my office. I wasn't there. I'd taken a leave of absence, but my assistant Brenda is a saint. She recorded the whole thing on her phone for security purposes. Sarah was hysterical. She was screaming at the receptionist, "Where is he? Where is my husband? He stole my furniture. He's kidnapped my dogs." Caleb was behind her, acting like the protective alpha, telling my coworkers that I was unstable and dangerous. But it was the email I got 4 hours later from my mother that changed everything. Subject: Mark, how could you be so cruel? Body: Mark, I am ashamed to call you my son. To leave your wife in an empty house after the news she shared tonight? Sarah is pregnant. Caleb is going to be an uncle, and you are going to be a father. And you choose this moment to act like a petulant child? You return those dogs and that furniture this instant, or I am calling the police. We are family. Family stays together. Sarah is pregnant. I stared at that email for an hour. My heart was thudding in my ears. A father? She wants me to believe I'm the father? Here's the thing. Sarah doesn't know. My mother doesn't know. Even Caleb doesn't know. 3 years ago, after we had a scare and Sarah said she wasn't ready for kids, I went and had a vasectomy. I never told her. I wanted it to be a surprise for when we were ready. I was going to get it reversed as a gift so she didn't have to stay on the pill, which she hated. I have the medical records. I am 100% sterile. The family announcement at the dinner? It wasn't just that Sarah was pregnant. It was that they wanted me to pay for a new, bigger house for the extended family to live in together so my mother could help with the baby. They were going to trap me into raising my brother's child while I paid the mortgage for all 3 of them. The climax. 3 weeks ago, things turned nuclear. Sarah tried to file for an emergency injunction to get back into her home. My lawyer, Diane, countered with the video evidence and the medical records of my vasectomy. You should have seen Sarah's face in the preliminary hearing. We were in a small conference room. Sarah was sitting there in a maternity dress. She's barely showing, but she was playing it up, wiping her eyes with a lace handkerchief. Her lawyer started talking about spousal abandonment and the needs of an expectant mother. Diane waited. She waited until they were finished. Then she slid a manila envelope across the table. "These," Diane said, her voice like ice, "are the records from Dr. Aris's urology clinic. Mr. Mark underwent a successful vasectomy 3 years ago. His last 3 follow-up checks confirmed a 0 sperm count." The room went silent. You could have heard a pin drop on the carpet. Sarah's face went from pale to beet red to a sickly grayish green. She looked at the papers. She looked at me. "Mark, there must be a mistake. Procedures fail. They fail all the time." "Not this one," I said. It was the first time I'd spoken to her. "And definitely not with the frequency I saw on the guest room camera, Sarah. Does Caleb know he's the father? Or were you going to let him keep borrowing money from me while I raised his kid?" She lost it. She literally lunged across the table. "You spy. You disgusting, sneaky spy. You trapped me." The bailiff had to step in. It was a mess. The police involvement. 2 weeks ago, Caleb tried to break into the Airbnb. I don't know how he found me. I suspect my mother hired a cheap PI. I was sitting on the porch with a beer when his beat-up sedan screeched into the driveway. He jumped out, looking high or drunk, or maybe just desperate. "You ruined everything, Mark. Mom is losing the house. Sarah is a mess. Give me the money. Give me the money you stole from the savings." I didn't even stand up. I just held up my phone. "Caleb, I'm on the phone with 911. They're 30 seconds away. There's a camera on the porch. If you step on that top stair, I'm defending myself." He started screaming profanities. "You were always the boring one, the one nobody liked. I took her because I could. She chose me because you're a shell of a man." The cops arrived. They tackled him in the driveway because he resisted. They found a small amount of substances in his pocket. He's currently out on bail, but my mother had to put up her own house as collateral to get him out. My mother, she's broken. She's been calling me from blocked numbers. I finally picked up yesterday. Evelyn. Mark, please. Caleb is in trouble. Sarah is staying in my guest room and she won't stop crying. We have no money. You took everything. We're your family. How can you do this to your own mother? Me. You weren't my mother when you watched them go into my bedroom, Evelyn. You were a facilitator. You're not a mother. You're an enabler for a predator. You have 24 hours to stop calling me, or Diane files the elder abuse countersuit for the money you stole from my business. Evelyn, you're a monster, Mark. A cold, heartless monster. Me. No. I'm just a comfortable chair that finally got tired of being sat on. I hung up. I'm currently sitting in my new apartment. It's small, but it's mine. The dogs are asleep at my feet. The divorce is moving fast. Because of the adultery and the fraud regarding the pregnancy, the prenup is holding up like a shield of steel. She's getting nothing. Absolutely nothing. Caleb is facing charges. My mother is likely going to have to sell her house to pay back the loans she took from my firm. I thought I'd feel happy, but I just feel empty. Like there's a hole in the middle of my chest where my family used to be. But then I look at Buster and Lucy, and I realize they're the only family I ever really had. I'll update one last time in a few months when the dust finally settles. Time passed since last update. 1 year. It's been exactly 1 year since I walked out of that house in the middle of a thunderstorm. I'm sitting on the balcony of my new place, a quiet condo overlooking a lake. It's 6 a.m. The sun is just starting to bleed over the horizon, turning the water into a sheet of hammered gold. Buster is snoring at my feet, and Lucy is chasing squirrels in her dreams. I wanted to wait until everything was truly, legally, and emotionally over before I posted this. I owed it to all of you who reached out, who shared your own stories of golden child siblings and betrayal. You guys were my tether when I was drifting in that Motel 6. Let's talk about the divorce. It was finalized 6 months ago. Sarah tried everything. She tried to claim emotional distress from me recording her. She tried to say the vasectomy was medical battery because I didn't inform her. My lawyer, Diane, who I am now convinced is a literal Valkyrie in a power suit, shut it all down. The judge was a no-nonsense woman in her 60s. When she saw the footage of my mother and Sarah laughing about me being a comfortable chair while my brother was in my bed, the look on her face was pure fire. The prenup held. Sarah got her personal belongings and a very small lump sum that basically covered her legal fees. She lost the house. She lost the lifestyle. She left the courthouse that day in a taxi, crying into the same lace handkerchief she'd used for months. I didn't even look at her. I practiced gray rocking so hard I felt like a statue. Now, let's talk about the golden boy. Caleb is currently serving a 2-year sentence, mostly due to the substances found in his car during the break-in and a string of previous unpaid fines and incidents he'd had on the West Coast that my mother had previously paid to keep quiet. Turns out, he hadn't just failed to find himself out there. He'd been running from some very angry people he owed money to. And the baby? He was born 4 months ago. A little boy. I'm not going to lie. When I heard the news, I felt a phantom pain in my chest. For years, I wanted a son. I wanted to be a father. But then I saw a photo someone sent me from my mother's Facebook. The baby looks exactly like Caleb. The same jawline, the same eyes. Sarah named him Marcus. Can you believe the audacity? She named the child of her affair after the man she betrayed, probably in some sick, twisted hope that I'd feel a connection and start sending child support. I didn't. I sent a cease and desist instead. I had the DNA confirmed through a court order during the finalization of the divorce. Not mine. Not my problem. My mother. She's the one who took the hardest hit. She had to sell her house. The family home she was so obsessed with protecting. It went on the market to pay back the nearly $60,000 she'd siphoned from my business accounts and the legal fees she racked up trying to defend Caleb. She's currently living in a 1-bedroom apartment in a part of town she used to call distasteful. She's raising the baby. Sarah, well, Sarah did exactly what I expected. Once the money was gone and the excitement of the affair turned into the reality of diapers and a boyfriend in prison, she checked out. She's currently living with some guy she met at a bar 3 months after the divorce. She sees the baby on weekends when she feels up to it. My mother, who spent her life worshiping at the altar of her golden child, is now a 59-year-old woman working a retail job to buy formula for a baby her favorite son can't provide for. I saw her once, about 3 weeks ago. I was at the grocery store buying steak for a dinner I was hosting. I turned the corner, and there she was. She looked old. She looked tired. Her hair wasn't done, and she was wearing a uniform for a local hardware store. She saw me. Her eyes filled with tears instantly. Mark, please. He has your eyes. Marcus has your eyes. Just come see him. Just one dinner. We're still a family. I looked at her. I didn't feel the anger I expected. I didn't feel the need to yell. I just felt nothing. No, Evelyn. We aren't a family. We're just people who used to know each other. I hope you find what you're looking for in Caleb's son. I hope he's everything you wanted Caleb to be. I walked away. I didn't look back, even when I heard her sobbing in the middle of the frozen food aisle. As for me, I'm doing okay. Better than okay. I've started therapy. My therapist, Dr. Aris, not the urologist, ironically, helped me realize that I spent 30 years being an anchor for people who were trying to drown me. I'm learning how to be a person, not a provider. I've been dating a bit. Nothing serious. I'm taking it slow. I met someone, a veterinarian named Elena, who actually likes my boring spreadsheets and thinks my love for the dogs is the most attractive thing about me. The comfortable chair has been refurbished. I'm stronger now. I'm leaner. I've taken up rowing on the lake every morning. There's something about the rhythm of the water. It reminds me that life keeps moving, no matter how much junk you have to clear out of the river. I'm deleting this account tomorrow. I don't want to be the betrayed guy anymore. I just want to be Mark. To anyone reading this who is sitting in their car, wondering if they should go inside and confront the person they know is hurting them, do your homework first. Get the evidence. Protect your heart, but protect your future more. Don't be an anchor for someone who doesn't want to stay afloat. Buster is nudging my hand. He wants his morning walk. Goodbye, Reddit. Thanks for listening to my story. I'm going to go live the rest of it now.